something just shifted in the Sophie Cunningham story, and it shifted in the direction nobody inside the Indiana Fever organizational communications apparatus wanted it to shift. Sophie went on a podcast, her own podcast, with someone from her home state, in a conversation that felt comfortable and unscripted and genuinely removed from the damage control infrastructure that had been managing every public statement around this situation since the rogue post went viral and the organizational machinery. Mobilized within 24 hours to get it taken down and replaced with a retraction, and in that comfortable unscripted environment, something honest escaped. The organization was not happy with the post, not a leaked report, not an anonymous source. Sophie's own characterization of the internal response to what she published. The Indiana Fever organizational response to the rogue meme was unhappiness communicated clearly enough that Sophie registered it, and then referenced it publicly in an audio format that the damage control team was apparently not positioned to intercept before it reached the internet. Then the elbow injury detail arrives, and the stakes of this clip get immediately heavier. Sophie did not play. The same elbow that delivered the game-winning pass. The same elbow that was waving enthusiastically from the sideline throughout the game it was supposedly too compromised to participate in. The same elbow that appeared on the injury report within the same news cycle as the viral post, and the organizational unhappiness that Sophie just confirmed was real. I skimmed through it until I found the specific conversation transition. Is the most honest piece of media self-awareness this entire story has produced. No pretense of comprehensive preparation, just a direct acknowledgement that the Sophie Cunningham podcast conversation about the meme was the thing worth finding and reacting to in real time. What she said when she got there changes the conversation considerably.
Sophie Cunningham actually exposed people in the Fever organization were not happy with the post. Oh my God. If we could cut ice, we definitely could see that they was not happy with the post. Now, ultimately, Sophie Cunningham did not play yesterday. She's dealing with the elbow injury. Now, I have not watched this thing in its entirety because I like to watch stuff with y'all and react to it with y'all.
Primary source audio is the most valuable evidence available in any accountability conversation, and what you are about to hear from Sophie Cunningham on her own podcast is the primary source audio that the Indiana Fever organizational communications infrastructure could not intercept before it reached the public. Listen carefully to everything she says and everything she does not say. The meme was just funny. Everyone thinks she is suspended. Her friend from home texted asking what was going on. There is no way this is as weird as internet people think it is. That last sentence is where the clip lives, and it lives there because of what immediately follows it. But it is. Sophie said there is no way it is that weird, and then confirmed in the same breath that it actually is that weird. That sequence is not a contradiction. It is the specific verbal expression of someone who went into that podcast conversation intending to deliver one message and found that the honest version of that message and the organizationally approved version of that message were not compatible with each other in the relaxed, unscripted environment a familiar podcast conversation creates. The group text detail is the most humanizing and therefore most credible element of the entire clip. Her friend Sam texting from home, asking what is going on. Sophie posts a meme and then is questionable for tonight's game. What is going on? That is not a media figure or an analyst or an accountability content creator connecting dots. They are motivated to connect. That is someone with no institutional interest in the story, looking at the publicly available timeline and arriving at the obvious question. Sophie's response to that text inside the podcast conversation is the tell. There is no way it is as weird as the internet thinks, but it is. She did not say it is not weird at all. She did not say the timing is a complete coincidence and the injury has nothing to do with anything. She said there is no way it is that weird and then confirmed that it is. That confirmation is not something the organizational retraction machine can walk back. It is Sophie's voice on her own podcast, in her own words, describing a situation that she internally acknowledges is exactly as strange as the people following it recognized it to be. The clip you are about to see is Sophie saying what the retraction was designed to prevent her from saying.
Or excited about, like, in-house.
Wait, speaking of our game tonight, so that meme that we didn't get to, that like
sorry.
No, I forgot about it too, because That's just like a funny meme. Like I just saw that and like we all thought it was hilarious. Everyone thinks I'm like suspended because of this.
Okay, I didn't want to bring that up, but my group text with all our boys from home, like Sam, Clay, Dave, Bush, Gage, all them. Sam messaged me yesterday and he was like, Sophie posts a meme and then is questionable for tonight's game. Like, what's going on? Like, ask her on the podcast. And I was like, there's no way this is like up as like weird as the internet people think it is,
dude.
But
it is so like that isn't like, look at our faces and like just how the game went. Like it was funny. It just had nothing to do with anything.
The play design conversation has been running through this entire news cycle with 2 competing versions and no definitive resolution. Sophie's original post said she went rogue. The retraction said it was exactly the play the coach drew up. The basketball internet picked a side and argued about it without access to the tactical specifics that would actually settle the question. Sophie just provided those specifics on her own podcast, and what she described is more complicated and more revealing than either the rogue narrative or the it was drawn up narrative fully captured. There was a cross screen. Kelsey to either Clark or Lexi. A defensive miscommunication on Chicago's end. Both defenders going with Lexi. Clark left wide open as a direct result of that defensive breakdown. And Sophie's acknowledgement that if someone is open, you give them the ball. Read that tactical sequence carefully because it contains the answer to the question that the internet has been arguing about since the rogue post went viral. The play was designed with multiple options built into it. Clark was one of those options, not the primary option, but a legitimate read within the play's structure that the defensive breakdown made available. Sophie identified that Clark was open as a result of Chicago's miscommunication and delivered the pass to the open player. That is not rogue. That is basketball. That is a veteran player reading a live defensive situation and executing the correct decision based on what the defense gave her, rather than mechanically delivering the ball to the pre-designated primary option regardless of what the defense was doing. The play was to go here. Transition that closes this clip is where the contradiction that matters actually lives, not in whether Sophie went rogue, in what the original play design revealed about who the coaching staff wanted to have the ball in that moment before the defensive breakdown created the Clark opportunity. The play was designed to go somewhere else first. Chicago's miscommunication made Clark the right read. Sophie made the right basketball decision. The question this clip leaves hanging is the one that the if someone is open, you give them the ball principle cannot fully answer. If the defense had not broken down and Clark had not been left wide open, where was the play designed to go, and why was it designed to go there instead of to the player who just made 15 consecutive free throws? The clip you are about to see is Sophie answering the rogue question and accidentally opening a more important one.
They call a timeout, and I'm telling you, and I spill pretty much everything on this podcast. That is the exact play we freaking drew up. We literally drew up, and so they just messed up on defense. Like there was a miscommunication. There was a cross screen. I think Kelsey to either C to Lexi. Yeah, C to Lexi. And they both went with Lexi. So they both do, and it left C wide open. And we were going to C anyway. And so, and of course, like if someone's open originally, like you give them the ball, like if Kelsey's open to get a layup, yes. If AB was open, but like the play was...
Everything this story has been building towards since the rogue post went viral arrives in the footage you are about to see, and it arrives not through leaked information or anonymous sourcing or analytical inference from available public evidence. It arrives through the huddle footage itself. Same play. That is what Clark said coming out of the timeout. Same play. The play that produced the game winner in Washington. The play that Clark had just converted into 15 consecutive free throws and a performance that carried Indiana through 40 minutes of basketball against Chicago. Same play, Clark's own voice communicating to her teammates and to anyone watching closely enough that she knew what was coming and was ready to execute it. Then Stephanie White changed it. The stand attendant reaction captures the exact moment. That change registered for someone positioned close enough to the huddle to understand what was happening. Oh my god, no way, that is not the reaction of someone watching a normal tactical adjustment between plays. That is the reaction of someone watching a coaching decision that contradicts the momentum of everything that had just happened on that floor. The gut-wrenching declaration at the end of this clip is not dramatic content creator language. It is the accurate emotional response to watching a coaching staff override the player who just saved the season on a predetermined play in favor of a design that sent the ball somewhere else first. And then the question that this clip ends on is the one that Sophie's podcast explanation cannot fully answer despite her best effort to close the conversation around it. If the play was exactly what was drawn up as the retraction claimed. If Sophie is telling the truth that the cross screen was always part of the design and Clark was always a legitimate option within it, then why did the same play from the huddle that Clark called and confirmed produce a different primary option? The second time it was run, why did the design that Clark recognized and called by name arrive at the execution stage with the ball going to Kelsey first, rather than to the player who had just demonstrated in consecutive high-pressure situations that she was the most reliable option on the floor? Same play, different result. White changed something between the huddle confirmation and the execution. The footage recorded it, the stand attendant saw it. Clark knew it before the ball was even inbounded. What you are about to watch is the moment the story stopped being about a meme.
Now, when Caitlin comes back, Caitlin's going to say same play. Same play. Many people is insinuating when Caitlin says this same play, it's the play from the Washington game. No. It's the same thing. Now watch. Boom. Timeout. Timeout. See? Now this is how it all plays out. Same play. Caitlin going to get in. Boom. Lexi's right there. Caitlin's right there. Now watch Caitlin at the end of this.
The question that closes this video does not have a clean answer, and the absence of a clean answer is itself the most revealing thing the Sophie Cunningham podcast conversation produced. If the play was exactly what was drawn up, why did Clark go call same play coming out of the timeout and then watch White change it before the ball was inbounded? If Sophie went rogue and the retraction was organizational pressure rather than honest clarification, why does Sophie's podcast breakdown of the cross screen and the defensive miscommunication contain enough tactical specificity to be credible, as a genuine description of what the play was designed to do? If everything is fine and the meme was just funny and the elbow is just an elbow and the organization is aligned and the coaching staff trusts the franchise player to make the right decisions in high-stakes situations, why did the stand attendant react the way he reacted when the play changed? Every answer this story has produced has generated a more specific and more difficult question behind it. That is not the behavior of a situation that is as simple as any of the official framings around it have claimed. Sophie said there is no way it is as weird as internet people think. Then she confirmed it is. That confirmation is sitting in a podcast recording that the Indiana Fever organizational communications infrastructure could not intercept before it reached the public. It is primary source audio in Sophie's own voice describing her own internal experience of a situation the retraction was designed to close and clearly did not. The play got changed. Clark knew it. The footage recorded it. An attendant standing courtside saw it and reacted with the specific physical expression of someone watching something they could not believe was happening in that moment on that floor. Same play, then something different. The rogue narrative and the it was drawn up narrative are both incomplete versions of a more complicated truth that the huddle footage, the podcast audio, the retraction timeline, the elbow injury report, and the organizational unhappiness Sophie confirmed are all pointing toward from different directions. The story is not closed. It was never closed. The podcast just made that undeniable in Sophie's own words. Drop your thoughts in the comments. The question at the end of this video is the right one. The comment section already knows it.